Hey everybody, this is HM1 Moore with the Lead 360 at NMRTC Bethesda. Today we're going to be going over one of the most commonly used acronyms across the Navy, CDBs. CDBs, or Career Development Boards, are a board in which you sit down with your leadership, career counselors, or career development team members. They're meant for the sailor. They're meant to identify, state, and accomplish the long-term or short-term goals of the sailor. These goals can be personal, professional, but remember, they're specific to you. Don't be afraid to ask any questions, and remember that your career counselors or your chain of command will be willing to answer those questions for you and kind of why something does or doesn't work the way it does. Now, we've talked about CDBs briefly, but how does the sailor know what they're used for? Luckily, we have HM2 Shirlee and HM1 Towner, our command career counselors, to share a little bit of knowledge with us.
Thanks, HM1 Moore. The CDBs can be completed for many reasons. Here are a few that are required according to the Command Career Counselor Handbook. We have reporting CDBs, time on station CDBs, which are the most common and are completed at 24 months and 48 months, and then you have a CDP upon separation from the Navy. HM1 Towner is going to follow up with a few more options.
Thanks, HM2. I'm HM1 Towner. I'm one of the Command Career Counselors here as well. Some of the other required CDBs that are on your list will be your Career Waypoint CDB. That will come up at some point in your career, especially if you're greater or less than 24 months from your soft EOS, or you're 18 months from your PRD if your soft EOS doesn't go past the PRD for your next command. Some other CDBs that I would like to talk about also as well is A school or C school, if you decide to convert, or if you want to go into an advanced NEC. You have special programs just in case you want to go the RDC route or be a recruiter, or as such. You have My Navy Assignment. The reason why that is a CDB, and that's usually one of the most common ones as well too, is because sailors need assistance navigating that program because it's pretty new, and ensuring that you pick the orders that are best suited for you and that you're qualified for. You can also do a CDB for off-duty education, especially as far as applying for TA and FAFSA as well. What I want you to keep in mind though is that CDBs are as HM1 Moore say, are an opportunity for you to sit down with your chain of command to be provided resources for obtaining that goal and a realistic roadmap in doing so. What you need to keep in mind though is that you must give your chain of command time to gather the resources to make sure when they have that formal counseling for you, they're giving you the best roadmap to go forward. You do not want to call a CDB expecting it to be done the next day. It takes time for things of this nature, and it's very important that you give them that time and do it.
Well, thank you HM2, thank you HM1 for sharing your wisdom, knowledge, and clearing up any misconceptions. Now, I have a question for the both of you. What are some documents you recommend that sailors, their CDTs, and their chain of command bring to these CDBs?
Thanks, HM1 Moore. That is correct. There are some documents that we recommend that you bring to the CDB for the sailor to assist them in accomplishing their goals. One of the main ones is your member data summary. That is a very important document because it literally lays out the sailor's history, it lists the sailor's demographics, their time and rate, and then it also lets you know the end of their contract, so that way they know the time or scope that they have as far as being on active duty to accomplish these goals. Another document that we recommend that you bring as well too is your ladder, that leadership and development roadmap. That is highly important because the ECMs drew that up for the individual sailor, so the sailor has a clear-cut idea of what they're looking for as you advance to the pay grades. A benefit to that is letting the sailor know if you're meeting those basic requirements or if you're going above and beyond and going to the next pay grade. It makes you highly competitive as far as advancement goes and the opportunities that are available. Another document, and the last one that I'll hit on, is the advancement profile sheet. I say that is important because it kind of lays out to the sailor, hey, this is where you finished at on your advancement exam as far as your score goes, and then it kind of lets you know what the Navy's looking for advancement. It also will let the sailor know, hey, how competitive you are as far as like how you scored on your test. Now your evals and your award points and education points, that's something else that's in there, but I always tailor it toward the sailor because I want them to be informed that, hey, that score is very important because if you know your rate, it kind of makes you prepared to take on the next pay grade. I can't think of any more off the top of my head, but those are the three key ones that I would highly recommend that is presented to the sailor during the CDB.
I agree, HM1 Towner. I would add to bring the sailor's individual career development plan, which is pretty much any prior CDB that they've completed while they've been here, prior to.
Well, that wraps up our very brief discussion on what CDBs are, what they're used for, and the importance for all sailors. Please stay tuned for the next training as we will conduct an in-person and live CDB and review how it went from your point of view. Thank you for tuning in to Lead 360.